What is up, guys? Well, I had to bring out the camera for this one. I freaking bumped up the ISO to like 4,000, but I do not care. I just wanted to kind of have this video out as a reflection period. I really don't do too much of these, and yeah, it's mainly just kind of like an internalization of what has been happening over the last few months in terms of how the business has been going, but just how it's affecting me, as an individual, like how it's affecting me as a person. Because if I'm gonna be honest, I mean, like, over like 3 months, tons and tons of mindset changes. That's the best way to put it. Um, I'm only 19, right? And a lot of people around me right now, they are not, you know, anywhere near kind of the mentality that I share or the vision that I share, right? Especially in the city that I'm in, right? Where I'm based, right? I'm in Tampa, right? And the people that I grew up around, they're really not. It's really hard to get them to kind of think that way. And I'm not here to kind of just be like, oh no, people are not like me, and I'm like the lone wolf or whatever. But you know, it's April 13th right now. It's a Sunday night. I have like assignments due in 2 hours, so I'm still running uni. I'm not kind of like a full out bum at the moment. But you know, alhamdulillah, man. I'm at a point where the inputs are being done, the results are being done, or the results are out there. Some great case studies are being built. We have a nice launch coming in literally like next week, and it's just all been happening. It's just all been happening and happening, and I've just been in the midst of it all. As 19-year-olds, a lot of them, at least around me, I know there's a lot who are way beyond this scale, but we're really not meant to handle this kind of pressure right now. But here I am. I'm at a point where there's people who literally depend on me, where there's actual living, breathing individuals. There's employees who depend on me and my goals, and if I'm doing the right thing to kind of get to those goals. If I'm not doing what I'm doing, if I'm not being a good leader, if I'm not being, somebody to stand up to, then ultimately everything is going to fall apart. And this is something that I really just haven't deep down, like I really haven't thought about it, because the hiring process and this and just quick onboarding and okay, yeah, do this and that and the other. But dude, on a deeper level, bro, like I don't even know how to say it, bro, but it's definitely pressure. I'm not gonna say it's all fun and games. I'm not gonna say it's all like sunshine and rainbows out here, but there's definitely expectations that you have to set. And as a person, dude, like I didn't know, I never knew I'd be at a point where, hey, I'm actually managing real life people. Growing up as students, our teachers always told us, here's how to get good grades, here's how to pass this, here's how to pass that, so you can be overlooked by a higher position individual to kind of hire you, right? Here's how you look the best as possible, so that someone can hire you. Here's how you make your resume really good. And I'm not against jobs or anything. I'm not like out here some freaking digital nomad that's like telling you to like quit your job and like make 10K a month. I'm like, no, I'm just telling you, my experience, where I'm at currently, documenting this entire process. The fact that this is all happening is very surreal. It's just that I'm always just in the day-to-day ops, right? And I really never have a chance to think about it. And what we have coming later this year is just something so insane that I cannot really visualize it until I'm there. Of course, I can visualize the amount of progress that we're making right now, but seeing what's at the end of these 6 months, seeing what's at the end of the year, literally, the amount that we're going to be able to grow, inshallah, like the amount that we can grow this team to, and the amount of results that we can get, and the amount of lives that we can change, with this offer and with this service that we're providing, with this, transformation that we make within, what we provide. It's just surreal, man, and I'm just doing this like all at this age where, no one around me can kind of relate. And the only people I have to relate to is really just to this camera right here. Yeah. And that's really just the biggest takeaway so far, right? And if I were to have just one advice, at this point in time where there's growth happening, there's a lot of pressure, number one, remember that diamonds are created under pressure, as freaking cliche as it sounds. I'm starting to realize this now, right? Like I'm seeing it in action, right? Diamonds are created under pressure. You need pressure to kind of evolve. You need pressure to grow into another stage. If there's no pressure, you're going to stay where you're at. If I didn't take that jump 3 months ago, to whatever I had to do, I would not be in the state in the state that I am today, right? Where there's people under me who depend on me, and most importantly, I have to get them to their goals, right? It's on me. And maybe many of you watching this, maybe you're not at a point where you have a team or you're leading a team. Maybe you are leading a team, but you know that you could be doing better. You know that you could be sharing your vision at a much greater scale, and you know that you can get these people to to their goals. Because everybody's selfish, man. This world, man, like everyone just cares about themselves. And so as a leader, as somebody who's, kind of managing a group of people, like you have to really consider what their goals are. You have to consider their actual lifestyle, like what do they want to be, right? At the first stage, it was just all about, me, right? How can I get this result? How can I make this much amount of money? How can I make this much amount of money? How can I, get to this state? How can I get to this goal? How can I reach X amount per month? How can I affect, this amount of people? But nah, like a few months in, you're going to be like, how do I get my team to where they want to be so that I can hit my goal as well, right? How can I shape my goal into a point where the people around me, if they don't help me hit my goal, I won't be able to help them, or I won't be able to give them my all to help them hit their goals, right? And that's just been the big realization. That's really the best way to just put it as to what stage I'm in, right? There's a big launch coming soon. I'm going to be integrating, the team member into kind of how this launch is going to go. I'm going to be creating SOPs, standard operating procedures for the team member, and really just telling him the mentality and the mindset and what's going to help us reach these, numbers, what's going to help us reach these KPIs, and you just need a good culture. If you don't have a good relationship with whoever you lead, best believe, bro, they're going to find somebody else that points to their interests, They're going to find somebody that actually cares about their goals. They're going to find somebody that cares about them. Look at it, like, even in normal, like, what is HR? HR wasn't a thing like 20 years ago. I might be wrong, but HR is just like a new thing that's been implemented in like the corporate world, right? Employees' health, like their health, their lives, their day-to-day mental health, like how they're feeling matters a lot now, right? And so, like, dude, you just have to be super considerate of the people who work under you. And that's really just one of the biggest takeaways at this stage of the business, right? And not even just business, just life in general, man. These are real people who you develop a connection with for a super long time. And you have to understand how to manage that connection, how to, keep your ground, hold frame when needed, and enjoy time when you need to, right? You have to understand, you have to have that balance. You have to understand how to lead them in moments where they're needed the most. And you also have to let them, be themselves around you. You have to kind of let them express themselves, be honest, be realistic with you, get their input and you give them your input. And yeah, that's just been the current state overall, It's not, like I said earlier, it's not about the results, right? Getting the results, one of our partners, we're at 10K cash for the month. A week in April, we're projected for 30K cash by the end of the month. And like I said, obviously it's pressure, but that stems from if you're competent, if you're doing your job, if you are leading the team the way you're supposed to be. And I have to understand that, hey, if I don't perform, if I don't set expectations well, and if I'm not considerate of the goals of my team members, then we're not going to get to where we need to be, right? We're not going to get that 30K cash, even though we're at 10K cash at this point. It's a matter of keeping the momentum going, because you can have a really good moment. You can have a really good few days, but what's going to happen the rest of the month is plummeting. You have to understand, you have to look into it. You have to be like, hey, why is this happening? Right? why is this going on? And so, yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm really, really excited for what's coming the rest of the year. It's currently April. We're headed into summer, and we're jumping in, number one, with a really good case study. Number two, we have a really, really nice launch coming in. I wish I could share more details, but it's with one of the biggest personalities in the UK space, in the self-improvement space. And we're going to change a lot of people's lives. That's what I care about. You know, money is just an outcome. Money is just one of the outputs that come out. But most importantly, you know, we're at a state, you know, where us, especially the kind of people that we are in today's day and age, right? We have to be the best versions of ourselves. We have to be the best we can in all aspects, right? In our faith, in our spirituality, in our health, in our wellness, and in our expertise and our skill sets, right? If we do not succeed in these matters, dude, we're going to be left behind. And we already are left behind, you know? I'm Muslim, right? And a lot of the people nowadays that I see around me are just consumers. I traveled to my home country, Bangladesh, back in summer, right? We were raising money. We raised around 100K for, you know, building a school in my dad's village. And even the people there, right? They're just so used to consuming. Like obviously in third world countries, like they're working harder, yes, this and that, but the average people, they're just consumers, and we have to get out of that state. I'm not saying you can't consume. Obviously, like I'm gonna brain rot from here, like, you know, here and there, but you have to understand, like, what's your priorities, right? Is it the skill set that you're building? Is it your health? Is it your wellness? Is it those around you, you know, keeping them happy? If you don't focus on these things and you're just glued to your phone all the time, if you're just glued to this fake reality, then best believe, I mean, that's the reason why we are where we are right now. That's the reason why, you know, the other people are succeeding. That's the reason why, you know, us as Muslims, we are so far behind. I was listening to a video the other day, you know, talking about the printing press in the 1800s, right? The European kind of empire, they discovered the printing press and they really started to kind of revolutionize that and everything. Meanwhile, you know, the Ottoman Empire, they're like, yo, we're going to ban this thing. That's the first thing they thought. 100 years later, that's when they finally started, you know, they're like, you know, that we're going to start using a printing press. Like 100 years after the Europeans started to already utilize it, you know, they started to share wealth, they started to spread knowledge, you know, share their ideas, share their thoughts, share their theologies. And so we have to realize the situation that we're in is very dire, and we have to understand that we have to learn how to manage those around us. We have to manage our priorities. We have to manage our skill sets. And we really just have to focus on something for 6 months. That's all. We have to pick something. When I mean something, really just pick up something, man. Right? Pick up a skill. Pick up some sort of thing that can benefit the world, right? In my case, I'm really trying to help as many people as possible, you know, within my realm. You know, I really want to spread especially just, you know, raising money for an orphanage school back home, right? We raised 100K, and I realized, you know, that makes me just want to be able to help more of those people, right? You just want to be able to make more so you can give more. That's really the best way to put it, right? And within my, you know, company, within my organization, I'm really just trying to make it a matter of how many people can we help? How many people can we help as much as possible who really need it, right? How can we make more? How can we build more wealth in order to be able to give more back to our communities, back to our people, back to the people that really need it, right? Investing in their education, investing in their skill sets, because there's so much bright talent out there that's not being discovered. And it's up to us to really give people that impact. And that's really just the overall goal, you know, make more, give more. But most importantly, right now, the stage that I'm at, it's just a transition period, right? It's a transition period, and I have to understand that, hey, if I don't put my all into this right now, then I'm not going to get what I want 6 months down the line, right? I'm not going to be able to build the biggest community of highest achieving individuals who want to make more, who want to give more by the end of the year. I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to collect this group of people who really want to make a difference to our people, right? To people that really need it, right? To get them out of this state of just consuming, to being leaders, being naturally kind of impactful, to not just themselves, but those around them, because we really need it. We're at a time where we really need it, and people are just, like I said, consuming all day, and I want to get them out of that state. That's just the reality. And so I want to collect those experts. I want to collect those individuals who are really good at their craft, and they know they can help hundreds of thousands of more individuals, and bring them where they need to be so they can make more. And they can use that wealth to impact those around them, right? Impact their communities, impact their families, really hit their goals, and just make a difference on this planet. Because we're here for such a short time, man. We're here for a really, really short time. We're here for a short time, and we have to do as much as possible to... We have to work as smart as possible, not even as much as possible, as smart as possible to be able to leave a lasting impact on this earth. Because, dude, like, you're telling me we're just going to be the average person, really? Like, just go to work, come home, that's it? Like, just brain rot all day in bed after work, that's it? Like, dude, we're here for a greater purpose, man. We are here for a greater purpose. And if the people around me, the 19-year-olds around me can't understand that, so be it. That's fine. But I'm looking for those kind of people at this stage, right? I'm seeing results. I'm printing case studies. I'm building a team of like-minded individuals around me. And we're going to grow this to a point where, for ourselves, we'll get to those 100K months. To 1 million a month, That's the end goal, inshallah. But it all starts from this. It all starts from, hey, are you managing? Are you being the leader that you can possibly be? Are you being the best person to look up to within your organization? Are you the best possible influence for those around you? Can you help those around you get to their goals so that they can help you get to yours? And the sooner we realize this, the sooner I implement it, and obviously we're going to be growing it, man. I'm super excited for the end of 2025. We're going to be impacting a lot of individuals who are trying to get into that make more, give more mentality. And I just want to make it possible. I see that there's a lack of this mindset. There's a lack of this in just like the space that I'm in, I've been doing content for a long time. I've been doing content since I was in 8th grade, quarantine days 2020. I was posting content in my room. I was really, it was so bad. But I've been going 4 or 5 years. And just lately, man, I've just been seeing the space is so fake. People are trying to, impact more people, but they're doing it wrong, right? They're trying to do it, but they're just doing it wrong. They're not able to help people to their fullest potential because the methods that they use are wrong. The systems that they use are wrong. They don't know how to find more people. They don't know how to acquire more people. They don't know how to build trust with people in general. And how are we going to be able to impact, at a greater scale if we just can't build trust with these people, right? If you're an expert in your skill set, you want to help others. How are you going to be able to, if you can't even gain that trust with people in the first place? And that's just something people lack so much right now. And I'm really out here trying to bridge that gap by the end of this year, using this team and using the people that trusted me at first, and really just build a community who's willing to do their best, who is willing to understand how to use the right systems possible, how to become a natural born leader for themselves, for their team members, for their business, and most importantly, use that as a vehicle to impact those around them, to help those who really need it. Because there's so much talent out there that isn't recognized solely because, unfortunately, we're in such a blessed position. We have to realize that, these people are not in, but there's so many talented people out there that are just not getting the spotlight. And it's really up to us to make that decision, to make that point. Like, hey, are we going to pull the trigger? Are we going to establish ourselves as a nation, as some sort of individual who can impact the world at a greater scale, right? And yeah, that's just really my yap session. That's really my takeaway right now. Just trying to build out this scenario, right? Nice launch coming, great case studies. I'm really excited for what we're getting out, in the next few weeks. and really just showcasing the vision that I have that no one else has. I know it sounds a bit egotistical. It's not really. But it's just a vision that I had, and I want to share it with the world. And I really want to impact more people at a greater scale, because truly, 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 we need it. If you just look for a second around, I give you an example. Dude, I give you a freaking 1800s example, the printing press, bro. Like, if we're so delayed, like by 100 years in terms of what we're doing, like, imagine us, our kids, imagine like our later generations. Like, we can't even imagine us for now, right? And that's what I just want you to realize. Like, hey, there's so much more that you could be doing more efficiently that will help you help more people. It's going to help you help other people become better in so many aspects of their lives. You know, whether it's their health, you know, whether it's wealth, whether it's, you know, their personal improvement. Because there's so many people who need it right now, right? Especially my kind of people, especially the people around me. I'm 19, like I said. A lot of people need it. A lot of people need self-improvement right now. And I'm not just meaning in like the vague, you know, TikTok self-improvement type of thing, skincare. No. Just overall as a person. You know, your 3-4 main pillars of life. Your health, you know, your skill set, you know, helping those around you. All these things, man, they're so, so, so important, because we're not here on this earth just to, like, you know, be on autopilot, because unfortunately so many people are on autopilot, and whatever, man, like, they're there, but we have to get those people out. And that starts with making that change. And it starts with you as that person who has a skill set, wants to change the world, wants to really be impactful, wants to make more, give more. It starts with you understanding that you are not where you want to be in terms of helping as many people as possible. You just don't know what it takes. You don't know what it takes to gain eyeballs from the right people who really need what you're offering. And yeah, that's really the best way to put things right now. But inshallah, man, I'm super, super excited, man. And that's really the biggest kind of takeaway that I want, you know, make more, give more, you know, just do better in your skill sets, really improve, really just become the best version of yourself that you can. And most importantly, you know, if you're in this transition period where you're just like, you know, I can't do it all myself, or I'm trying to do everything myself, just stop. You need to have the right team around you to really build what you're trying to build. If you're trying to impact people at a greater scale, you can't do it all alone. I'm sorry. Absolutely nobody in the history of mankind has done that. And that's what I'm starting to realize, that, hey, you know, with this team around me, I can really get this to greater skills that I want. You know, I can get to those 100K months easily. I can build this to 500K, $1 million a month. Because I know that my team and the fact that my team and everything around me and my case studies and my mindset are stuck at, you know, 100K a month and $1 million a month. I'm thinking that before I hit 100K a month, before I hit $1 million a month. Because I understand that I have the right vehicles. I'm starting to build the right assets around me to take me to where I want to be. And that's how I want you to think. So, if you made it all the way down here to this point of the video, I mean, you already know what to do, right? Take action. Really invest in yourself and understand, you know, where you're at and where you want to be and what's going to get you there. And that's just one of my biggest takeaways, man. So, if you made it through the SEAP session, I really appreciate you. You're just hearing me out right now at this stage of life and just stage of my business and just in terms of how things are going. So, yeah, really appreciate you. Subscribe, like, just let me know you're here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.